Alright, what up everybody? Authentically here. In the last video we talked a little bit about overcoming fear, shedding the old self and coming into the new. Some ideas behind getting ourselves into a pattern of observation of our thoughts and our emotions through situations, going into introspection, some self-awareness and meditative practice, and journaling, and really looking at ourselves in a deeper sense and starting to understand some of the things that are holding us back, some of the things that we're looking to heal and integrate so we could overcome these fears of stepping into that true sense of self. And then also looking deeper to find out what excites me, what gets the fire going in me. How can I live that fulfilling life? What is it that actually gets me going? Because it's not just that Ford F-150 Lariat. It's not, let's be honest. It's nice. It's a good truck, but there's more to life than that, right? So once we've done a little introspection, once we know ourselves a little more, we're getting more into that frame of integrating the new self, stepping away from the old self. And so typically when it comes to a said dream, when it comes to a said life purpose, it's a pretty encompassing theme in our life, though dynamic in nature and tends to change slightly or largely. Very encompassing in our life, right? And so what we're talking about today is developing that sense of unwavering faith. What I mentioned in my last video was that in 2025, I shed everything in my life. Career, home, family, friends, everything. Started anew, right? And I gotta be honest with you guys, I feel so fired up right now. I'm starting to feel so fulfilled that even if one person watches this video and gets anything out of it, fills my heart with the deepest of joys. Fills my heart with the deepest of joys. And that's what keeps me going. And so life's gonna throw shit at you. It is. I think you probably noticed that life is a tricky game, right? Bills, you have to live to survive. You have to work to survive. And still put in time after working, after caring for your family, after caring for yourself and your bodily needs. You have to put in time to develop yourself for that new journey. Most often, right? Most often. Not a lot of us. I certainly didn't. Not a lot of us have the foresight, per se, when we're younger, when we're getting out of high school, when we're getting ushered out the door of the education system, right? It's like just a good kick out the door, and it's like, hello, the world is here. How are you gonna make money? How are you gonna survive? Let's begin. So, faith. Faith, in my opinion, comes from your core truth. What is your core truth? My core truth is that I'm here to uplift society, to raise the vibration, to inspire others to be in their authentic version of themselves. Right? That is my core truth that I feel in my heart, that gets me so excited to wake up at 5 in the morning and go to bed at midnight, or whatever needs to happen for me to make it a reality. I'm doing it. Right? So what is your core truth? In finding that, look to your experiences you've dealt with in life. Right? We went over that in the last video too. Look at your experiences. Look at your philosophy, your spirituality. You know, it doesn't really matter if you subscribe to a religion, if you subscribe to a philosophy, a spiritual concept, but to believe in a higher power and to believe in the deeper purpose of life does seem to be necessary. And when you look at successful people, typically they have a vision that merges with the concept of creation and reality and how it all coagulates together in this beautiful mixture of experience of being a human being, right? And so deep knowing of self, a deep knowing, a deep belief of what you conceptualize as the meaning of reality is really going to help you out. Not in every case will that be a determining factor. Maybe not so much. But you can build faith, you can build motivation, you can build behavioral patterns based on other things. I like the term, take your pain and transform it into power. I love that term. I love the idea of being able to transmute emotions, take a negative emotion and be able to shift it into a perceived positive one. Has immense fulfillment for me. And I think when you start to really understand how powerful your perspective is, how unfuckwithable you can become when you start to understand that you really can't control others, when all you can control is yourself, it's such a beautiful concept. Because you stop caring about what others think of you, what you think they're thinking about you, what people's judgments are being put upon you. And by the way, you should understand too, the nature is what you put in, you get out, right? Energetically. And so if you're out here gossiping about people, if you're out here putting your judgment on others, even in your own mind, that's gonna come back to you. When you feel judgment from others, it is a reflection, right? The universe is a mirror. So just understand that. And so, for me, a big part of how I know I'm on the right track and what keeps me going is synchronicity. I see synchronicity everywhere. And I don't make a habit of looking for it either, because it becomes it can become like an obsessive thing, and it gets old fast, let's be honest, but it's like repeating numbers I see everywhere. symbols, this and that. But synchronicity is a big part of it for me. When you know you're on the right track, and just that deep sense of knowing, right? Really, once you've done the work and you really understand who you are, no one can take that from you. When you're awake to the fact of who you are and that you have that beautiful spark inside of your heart and no one can take that away from you, it's over. The game is over. It's just a matter of rebuilding now. Rebuilding the life you want. Right? Faith, patience. Where do we develop patience from? We develop patience through our experience, right? Patience, persistence. Patience comes from our inner being as well, right? Like, this is all a very encompassing thing on knowing who you are, knowing that you are love, knowing that you are abundant on the inside and reflecting it out, and the outside will reflect it right back at you. It'll reflect it right back at you. And so being patient, giving from your heart, understanding that it will come back to you, and giving to the right people too, right? If you're in situations where you're over giving to people that never give back, to people that you don't feel aligned with, that try to bring turmoil to your life, so to speak, those people are there for lessons, obviously, right? Those people are there to show you that you need to pull your energy back and fill up your own cup. Fill up your own cup. But yeah, it stems from experience. Persistence. Where does persistence come from? It comes from that inner fire. Again, from knowing yourself, right? Knowing yourself is such a big factor. It's like 80 or 90% of it, probably. Right? 80 or 90% is just knowing who you are, knowing what you're able to give to the world, and knowing who you're able to give it to. Right? A lot of the time, when you're doing these types of services and stuff, like in my instance, it's people who are just a step or two back that you're helping, right? Or, take it case by case. But like, the world is it's a plane for you to co-create in and create whatever you want, right? If you can imagine it, it's possible, right? If you can imagine the concept of you being a millionaire driving a rainbow Bugatti in, I don't know, Thailand, there's a version of you happening. There's a version of you doing that in some timeline somewhere, right? Like, that's what it is. So, faith very much comes from knowing yourself and knowing your relationship with your outer reality. Your outer reality coming into balance with your inner reality. When I do this, I kind of picture like a yin and yang symbol. Masculine and feminine, left hemisphere, right hemisphere coming together into balance. Patience coming from experience. For me, a big part of patience came from the experience of being a father of 2 young boys, being in a dynamic workplace where I had to just learn things on the fly on my own, and whether it took me 8 hours or 16 hours or 24 hours to figure out and diagnose an issue with a piece of equipment, that's the time it took. It was trial by fire, right? So when these negative experiences come into the focal point of your life, when you can be confident that they're there to serve you, they're there to teach you a lesson, they're there for you, they're not there to hurt you. When these people come and they try and fuck with you, that they're there for you, they're there to teach you a lesson, they're there for you to stand up for yourself, they're there for you to not put up with their shit. That's when the game changes. That's when you turn your pain into power. That's when you are really just like, the game of life goes from difficult to easy, right? Faith, patience, persistence. All right, we'll leave it there, guys. Much love to you. Leave in the comments, what is something you're working towards? What is something you're trying to integrate? What is something, what is a pattern you observed about yourself that you've just come to realize and it's changed your life? Let me know in the comments. I love you. Please like and subscribe if you feel inclined, and much love. Cheers.